Are Obamacare navigators breaking the law? A new report shows many of them are telling you to commit fraud. The report claims some Obamacare navigators are telling people to lie on their health care applications in order to get better credits and subsidies. But guess what? That's a fraud. That's illegal. You can go to jail for that stuff. Congressman Trey Gowdy joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Very well. So am I right that this is indeed one of the suspicions that navigators are telling people how to commit a crime?
It's more than a suspicion. There are at least two tapes that I'm aware of. One was lie about your finances, and the other was lie about your pre-existing habit of smoking, both of which would impact your premium and your subsidy.
And I'm actually looking at the U.S. House of Representatives report. I have a copy right here, and I'll read the part that you were just talking about. It says, navigators from the Urban League of Dallas were captured on video encouraging applicants to lie on their health insurance applications so the applicants could qualify for tax subsidies. Navigators were also recorded advising the applicant to lie about smoking habits to obtain a lower monthly premium. Has this been referred to the Department of Justice or to the local U.S. attorney?
Oh, I doubt it. Nothing much seems to get referred these days for criminal prosecution. I don't even know whether they've lost their job, Greta. I know the young lady who made the mistake of answering Sean Hannity's questions on the phone lost her job. I don't even know if these two have lost their job, but there's no background check, and it's 20 hours of training. You undergo more training to be a lifeguard at a reflection pool than you do to be a navigator. And you can take the test as many times as you need to. Think how well we would have done in school if you could just keep taking the test until you pass it. So the whole navigator thing, it's a shame that you have to have a navigator to access a federal program to begin with, then no background check, 20 hours of training. You can take the test as many times as you want, and then you can counsel people to commit frauds once you want to enroll.
All right. Well, it's a basic law for those who might be watching unaware of it. If you participate and you aid and abet someone in committing a crime, you're just as guilty as the principal. And every time you do it, it's another count. So if you do this with 5 people as a navigator, that's 5 federal. Those are 5 felony counts right there. Right?
Well, we can't even get the you're exactly right. It's aiding and abetting. And if you know about it and don't report it, it's misprision of a felony. But we can't get anybody prosecuted by this Department of Justice. So I hold out no hope. I'll just settle if they don't get to keep their jobs and
why do you have to
counsel more people.
Why do you have to go all the way to justice? Why can't you just have the U.S. attorney in Dallas or the first assistant? You call him up and say, convene a grand jury and look into this. I mean, you don't have to get permission from Eric Holder. If you started an investigation, Eric Holder suddenly stepped on it from D.C. to Dallas, that would raise holy hell within the ranks of U.S. attorneys.
It's happened before, but you're right. The U.S. attorney in whatever district in Texas that happens to be could do it. And for all I know, they may be working on it. I just think it's an absolute shame if you have on tape somebody counseling someone else to commit a fraud against the taxpayers, and there's no sanction, no consequence. I think it'd be a nice start if you just lost your job before you got referred for criminal prosecution.
And we should make note when you talk about those subsidies, if you have someone lie about his or her income so that he or she gets a subsidy, that means that the taxpayers pay extra money out of their pocket to some insurance company. So the taxpayers, they're the ones who suffer financially.
Well, you have the whole concept of unjust enrichment, but Greta, for whatever reason, people just seem to treat government money differently than they do their own. And it's okay to lie to get a higher subsidy, or yeah, we got a lot of issues in this country, morality being one of them. I just can't believe that the taxpayers are paying the salary for a navigator is counseling someone to then further defraud taxpayers out of money. I'd love to leave Congress and prosecute the case myself, and the one you referenced in the last segment as well.
All right, let me ask you about the contracts and the subpoena. I have a copy of a letter right here that's sent to Chairman Darrell Issa, and this letter is from Alfred Grasso, and it's the MITRE Corporation, and he's trying to explain why it is that he does not want to comply directly with a subpoena from the House Oversight Committee. He is one of the contractors. What's his excuse for not complying with a subpoena?
where there's a contract that forbids him from making disclosures to third parties. But I got news for Kathleen Sebelius. Congress is not a third party. And my guess is that gentleman, if he has not already sought legal counsel and concluded that he needs to comply with the subpoena, very shortly will. Two of the contractors already reached the right conclusion, which is between Kathleen Sebelius and Darrell Issa, you are much better off doing what Darrell Issa tells you to do.
You know, but will Congress actually, will Chairman Issa, will they actually, put their foot down and get these documents? I mean, always such a long dance in getting them. They should provide, if they're subpoenaed, they should provide them. It's no questions asked.
Yes, and then we'll fight over redactions. Lots of the documents we get are redacted. And then, of course, Greta, you don't know what you don't know. So if the contractor gives us information, but it's not a total disclosure of information, we don't know what we don't have. Underlying your question is also, why does nothing ever happen to people who don't do what Congress tells them to do? And that's a recurring conversation that you and I have. The fact that Kathleen Sebelius, if she told someone not to conform to a subpoena, even if they ultimately do, I would encourage Chairman Issa to still investigate it. To me, all's well. It's not all's well that ends well. If you counsel someone to impede a congressional investigation, even if they don't take your advice, I would still love to see it investigated. And my suspicion is that my advice will be well received by Chairman Issa.
The irony of it is that they all work for us. The contractors getting paid with our money as taxpayers. Kathleen Sebelius, Secretary of HHS, works for us. And we're the only ones who don't get any of the information. Everyone's taking our money and having secret contracts that we can't even see, and we don't even know how they're spending our money. We don't even know what's in the contracts.
Not only are they taking your money, they're taking your personal information. This is what all of this is about, is whether or not your information is secure. And I've got colleagues on the other side of the aisle who want to convene a special College of Cardinals to keep Darrell Issa from getting information so he can know whether or not your data is secure or not. Anyway, so it's worse than just your money. It's also your... Yes, ma'am.
It's also your personal stuff. Congressman, thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt you, but thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good night.